Steve, we have arrived.
Yes, we have.
We are here on the road with the podcast at Logee's Greenhouses.
In Danielson, Connecticut. I feel like we've been here before.
I really do too, which we have. We have escaped here many a times when it's 20 degrees out and walked to this amazing place filled with green treasures from all over the world.
There is no better place to come for tropicals, house plants, weird, cool things, citrus, all sorts of amazing things. If you can grow it in a pot, you can find it here.
That's true. And today we're especially thankful to be here because as we walked in, your glasses fogged up completely because it's 20 degrees outside, but oh man, it's a balmy 70 in here. It's got to be.
It's nice and toasty in here for all the tropical treasures and the things that need to be warm, and it's the place to come on a cold winter's day.
We keep talking about how awesome this place is, and I'm looking right down the hall here, and it looks like you go down these steep stairs, and I can see something exciting beyond.
All right, let's stop talking and let's go.
All right, let's check it out. Okay, so we've entered I believe this is what they call the long house, very long. And the first thing we spotted over on our right-hand side was an entire section of really, really cool scented geraniums. And a little bit earlier, Eliza, who is here at Logee's, one of the staffers here at Logee's, pointed out one called Attar of Roses scented geranium. It's a pelargonium, and I was thinking, oh, okay, it's going to smell like scented roses, but I went and I rubbed it, and what does that smell like to you, Steve?
I don't know, I'm still laughing over pelargonium. You crossed pelargonium with Negroni, my favorite drink, and came up with pelargonium. I know where your mind is.
I am. I'm ready to drink already. But what does this smell like? Because I was anticipating roses.
You said lemons.
I think it's very
I'm not
lemon.
good with smells. I only know two smells, good and bad.
I think it's very lemon scented. It says it's rose scented leaves with clusters of pale pink flowers, and it's a trailing scented geranium. But to me, it smells very lemony. But maybe it's one of those things that, some people think cilantro tastes like soap and some people think it tastes delicious. Yeah. So I smell lemons, but it looks really beautiful, not in bloom right now.
And so, scented geraniums are on my list of things that I wanted to get here. But I want something that looks good when it's not in bloom because, most of the time a scented geranium is not in bloom. So I wanted a variegated one. So I was thinking, there's green and white, green and grayish. But I stumbled upon chocolate peppermint here, which has really big leaves for a scented geranium, as far as I know. And they got the big chocolate splotch in them. They almost look like a tiarella or something like that. But
oh, good call. It does look like a fuzzy tiarella.
Yeah, and the scented leaves again, which I fall into the good category for me.
Oh, so that does smell like peppermint to me. Does it smell like peppermint to you?
Yes.
Very mentha-y.
Yeah.
Mentha-y. Okay, and then for those at home, do you want to say it properly?
Pelargonium.
Pelargonium.
No, pelargonium. You're putting the R on the other side of the G.
Gonium.
Yeah. Pelargonium.
I really just wanted a grony.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a good picture of that. So just by the scented geranium section, I pointed out this, I think it's pronounced Velia. It's a pineapple guava. We're not really sure of the genus and species, but we're going to put a photo of it up because it's got this beautiful fern-like foliage, and the flowers on it are sunset colors that kind of remind me a little bit of like a foxtail lily, something like that. Absolutely stunning foliage on this very tropical plant that you will see almost shrub-like down in, zone 10 and 11. But gorgeous, gorgeous plant. I love it. This is a winner. If we can find this is actually, it looks like one of their breeding plants, but if we can find smaller ones of these, oh gosh, I would love that. Thanks for taking a picture, Steve.
You're welcome.
Steve, look. Oh. So this is a Hoya. I love Hoyas. They kind of are these vining houseplant, almost, I don't know, waxy-leaved, amazing plants. And look at this one. It's called Variegated Heartleaf Hoya. And look, it's hearts.
It's variegated and has leaves that look like hearts. Yeah.
It's awesome. It is so cool. I don't know. I really love this. So zone 10, it says that it'll vine to a height of 4 feet. And it can go down to 50 degrees, which is great for my house where we don't like to turn on the heat.
But you have to put it in the perfect place because once it starts vining, it's not
Right.
easily moved.
I feel like in my dining room, it might actually survive because that's, we have a southern exposure there. And it says that it's part sun on its tag. So maybe this might be a good choice for me. I don't know.
Don't Hoyas have very fragrant flowers?
They do. Well, some of them do. Let's see what this one says. Doesn't mention anything about it on this particular variety, but hey, that would just be a bonus because this foliage is pretty insane. I love this. And it's a lot larger than a leaf that you're accustomed to on a Hoya. Because look, we've got basically what I would consider a regular Hoya right next door, and it's kind of a small lemon leaf type leaf. And this one is a large, I don't know, about half the size of my hand leaf that's thicker and denser and heart-shaped and variegated. I mean, what more could you want?
I don't know, but most people haven't seen your hands. They're smaller than average.
I have I have teeny hands, much like the rest of me. Okay, Steve, you spotted something over there, which is a plant that we're familiar with, but not this particular variety, this cultivar. What's going on?
It's a Bougainvillea, a double red Bougainvillea. It's massive. It starts on my right side, arches up over my head, and it's coming down on my left side. And it's just loaded with these double, are they flowers on a Bougainvillea?
I think the flowers are actually these little white things that are at the very tip. It's those, would they be stamens? It looks like leaves that are at the very ends of the plant that are different colored.
For all intents and purposes, we're going to call them flowers. Botanically, they're probably not. But,
Yeah.
You know what we're talking about.
Exactly, but unlike a typical Bougainvillea.
But what color is that?
Well, the
is it
tag says
pink?
red, but it is pink.
That's pink.
This is a magenta pink. It's Barbie pink.
But that's a pink I could work with and I could like. And as we know, I'm not a pink person.
It is,
So
and just the double bracts or the double colored portions of this plant make it look really, really like a more intense bloomer than a normal Bougainvillea. It's beautiful.
I know this plant because of my dentist. You lay there and they have like the image above. They have an image of Bougainvillea.
Oh, no way.
That's
Oh,
how I knew
yeah.
that.
It's beautiful. It needs full sun. Bougainvillea does. Obviously, not hardy around here, but a great plant to bring in and overwinter. I have a neighbor who does that, and yeah, they're incredible. What did you just say?
It smells good here.
You know why it smells good here? Because
Why?
this is a 120-year-old Ponderosa lemon tree, which was pointed out to me a little bit earlier before you got here. And the lemons on this, so first of all, this tree was brought apparently from Philadelphia. I'm not going to say it was the flower show, but it was from a breeder in Philadelphia 120 years ago. It was planted into the ground of the greenhouse here at Logee's. It has since taken off, and it is amazing. It's huge. How tall is this? It's reaching the top of the greenhouse.
Yeah. So it's got to be a good 8-9 feet above where we're standing, and then it goes down a few feet to maybe another 3 feet. But the size of the lemons on it, that's bigger than a baseball.
Well,
Just a little smaller than a softball.
Apparently they reach 5 pounds. Look across here. Can you see that one over
man.
there?
Yeah, that's bigger than a softball.
Yeah, that is half the size of a football. Is that accurate?
Maybe.
Maybe.
But you're entering into that territory.
So this is one of the cool things and the unique properties of Logee's greenhouses because there's a lot of plants that have broken free of their pots and or have purposely been planted into the ground of the greenhouse. And it's like entering a tropical oasis. And like you said, it smells really good because we've got some citrus blossoming over here off of this Ponderosa lemon tree. And it's an extremely fragrant blossom. Here, you want to take a smell? See, smell this. Smell this. Oh, the lemon tree attacked you. Can you get to that?
It smells good.
It smells good.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. Whoa, cool. Whoa, you're hit with crazy fragrance in
Yeah,
here.
I smelled it 3 steps up. You come to this separate building that is the herb house.
Which is another, like a level further underground. And look at all these rosemaries. Holy cow.
I feel like we're in a Monterey pizza house. It's very California in here with all the rosemary and all the other herbs, and it smells pizza-esque.
It really does. So a little bit cooler in here. This was good that we came in here. We took a break. We were almost too hot in the other houses.
They get some interesting things in here that are not herbs, like that, whatever I'm
What
looking at.
is that?
Well, that obviously is the Epapha lily.
Epapha lily.
Yes, known to many of us as the Certanthus McKenniei. Yeah.
Mackinac?
The Epapha lily. So it's just this little strappy green grassy foliage with a flower stalk on it that has these trumpet shaped. They're about 2-inch long trumpets that are pink tubes with white on the end.
Yeah.
With the little, what's that? The anther sticking out.
Kind of a little bit allium-esque. I mean, I honestly thought it was in the onion family when I first saw it from afar, but it's definitely not. Down towards like where the green strappy leaves come out, it's reddish. I'm interested to know what the zonal range on this is. Okay, it says hardy to zone 9 and higher. All right, so this would be something that you would put outside and then slowly take it in for the colder season. But yeah, this is a beautiful, we say we don't like peach or pink. I would say that that's a peachy pink, but I really like it.
What did I say, red?
Probably.
Yeah, keep my colors simple. Okay? You have to complicate it with all the salmons and the aubergines. And
Yeah, you keep it simple because you're colorblind. Ooh. Oh. What is this? Look at how cool this is.
It looks amazingly cool. I don't know how I'd even describe this foliage. It's like a glossy fern frond mated with an oak tree.
Yeah.
Because it's got the lobes on it.
It almost
very narrow.
Yeah, with like burgundy stems to it.
And then these little star flowers.
Almost
white,
violet-esque.
Right, and they're dotted with purplish red.
Yeah, on the throat of them. Okay, hold on. I'm digging for the tag here. It's a Pseudoranthemum, Pseudoranthemum, Snevatum.
Okay, it'll be on our website.
It will be on our website. This is so cool.
Pseudoranthemum?
Pseudoranthemum
Sinuatum. Sinuatum.
I think sinuatum. Either that's a U or I can't tell.
That's a U.
Okay, a U or a V. We can't tell.
Pseudoranthemum sinuatum.
Okay, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Oh. Look at this. It is an orange lipstick plant, which honestly I would never wear that color as a lipstick, but...
So there is a shade of orange that you would wear as a lipstick? That sounds
maybe
bizarre.
like a corally orange, but this is orange, and it's got a little. Okay, so describe this plant. Let's see. It is
fairly nondescript.
It is. It's got these long kind of green leaves that are coming off of these spreading long branches. Yeah, that
green
really.
Green leaves coming off of branches. Yes.
That are also green. But then at the tip of this plant, it's these tubes of orange, which is the flower, that are kind of exploding out in a cluster of, let's see, 6 or 7 of them. And then at the very tip is red. It kind of looks like elongated tubes of lipstick. And then it's got these cool kind of red and yellow stamens coming out of it. And this particular one, it just says orange lipstick plant.
I'll give you $1 if you can pronounce that.
A Schisthanthus splendidus. Oh, splendidus.
No, splendidus, but...
Is the X supposed to be in between there and there's no space?
No, I think they forgot the space.
Okay, all right. So this is a very cool, and lipstick plants I know are pretty easy to grow. They need partial to full shade, And they generally do really well with, if you forget to water them and then you splash them with a little bit of water. The only reason I know this is because I had gotten a lipstick plant many years ago and I actually kept it alive for longer than a year. So this is an easy plant.
Daphne odora.
Oh my gosh, I gotta smell it.
All right, go ahead.
Oh my goodness. Oh, not what I thought it was gonna smell like though.
So if you break down my two smells of good and bad, you can break good into pizza and cleaner. So it either smells like pizza or like cleaner. And this smells
Like cleaner, like Pledge?
like something you would
Like a furniture polish.
something you would clean your house with.
Oh.
Cleaner. All cleaner is cleaner.
And this does smell like,
Cleaner.
to me, like the best scented Pledge ever. I thought it was going to be very sweet smelling, but it's not. You know how Daphne is like a Carol Mackey Daphne, are very sweet,
Sure.
like a vanilla or something. This Daphne odora is lemony almost, cleaner-y, if you will.
Very Pledge-like.
Very
Yes.
Pledge-like. It's beautiful too. It's this kind of almost bonsai-looking plant, and they've got it kind of growing up on the stalk, and it's clustered all the way around. I would say the top third of the plant are all of these purpley, pink, white flowers that are kind of in whorls all the way around the stems, and absolutely beautiful and clustered flowers. So yeah, this is a winner.
Do you think we can get whoever makes Pledge to sponsor the show, like Procter & Gamble or something like that?
I think we should. Hey, Pledge, here's the one where we talked about all the plants that smell like your product. So what are you standing under? By the way, we are obsessed with this Daphne, but then we turn around and...
Well, this is massive tree with like 11 different kinds of citrus grafted onto it. There's oranges and tangerines and lemons and kumquats. I guess all grafted onto this tree. And if you look up, you have to be really careful because some of these things are huge. And if they fall on your head, you're going to be unconscious. But it's just loaded with fruit. Very, very, very cool.
And whereas we thought that Ponderosa lemon tree earlier was big, this is truly ginormous.
Yes.
This is 20 feet, 25 feet. I don't know. I'm
I don't
5
even
foot
know.
tall. How many of me does it take to get up there? Yeah, it's beautiful though. And again, this is one of those plants that is broken free and is planted right into the ground of the greenhouse. So cool. So we're passing by one of the most popular houseplants probably out there. There's many different species and there's many different cultivars, and that's Monstera, right?
Monstera deliciosa.
And this one is Deliciosa, and we're curious because it's got these really, really kind of crazy green pine cone looking things growing out of it. This one looks to be very, very, very old, but it's got that cool kind of philodendron looking leaf that's all cut up and kind of Swiss cheesed out.
Well, that's one of the names, Swiss cheese plant.
Swiss cheese plant.
I think they're pretty cool.
They are very cool.
Very tropical looking.
Very tropical looking, easy to care for.
Yeah.
Again, one of these ones that I've kept alive for a small period of time in my life, so must be easy. But look at these things, these pine coney things. We got to look that up to see if you can actually eat them. They're like,
Well, why would you think that you could eat them?
well, because it says Deliciosa is its species
I don't
name.
think that means it's good tasting.
Well, then that would make no sense.
Well, I know, but
That would make no sense. All right, we're going to look that up. Maybe you can eat these. I'm not going to try eating them and see what happens. But yeah, these are cool. They're not soft though. It's not like a fruit. So I don't know. I think you'd have to try real hard to eat
there's
one
some
of those.
fruity looking things down there. Go look at those.
Okay.
The red things.
So Steve, what did you just ask?
I don't know. I think I asked, is that really a tomato?
It is. It's a
called
tomato tree.
It's called a tree tomato.
Or a tree tomato.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see tomato tree all the time, but it's actually, we're learning, not in the tomato family. It's in the guava family. And it's supposedly it's fruit that look like, I don't know, oversized, striped green and pink striped fruits. It supposedly tastes like a custardy guava as opposed to a tomato. But yeah, this is really kind of a cool looking tree. Very old looking. I don't know about a custardy guava though. I don't think I'd want to eat that.
I don't even know what a guava tastes like.
So that's a no. All right, Steve, I think we've seen some really cool stuff right now, and I'm ready to pick out some plants.
Yeah, me too. My big concern, though, is how I'm going to get these into the house without my wife noticing. Because if I can put them out in the yard, she'll never notice. But if I bring them into the house, she's going to...
She's going to know that you bought plants.
Yeah. Maybe they'll blend in with all the other succulents I've got.
There you go, and just tell her, yeah, honey, I just forgot to take these in. She'll buy it. She'll buy it.
Hope
All
so.
right, and then we're going to circle back and we're going to talk to Byron about some of our plants that we've picked out.
Cool.
Cool.
So we're here with Byron Martin, one of the owners of Logee's greenhouses. And it's time where we look at what Danielle bought and what I bought, and you tell me that what I bought is more interesting than what she bought.
I don't think that's fair.
All right, so let's walk through
Danielle
what
got
bought.
a Hoya here, which is Hoya carrii, the heart-leafed Hoya. And this is a variegated form, and it's very popular right now. There's a lot of interest in variegated leaves in general. Hoyas typically are very rugged growers, or what we would consider indestructible. So this is the kind of plant that you can go away for a month, 2 months, and if you don't water it, it'll be there when you come back. Might be a little shriveled, but it'll come back out of it.
I should have gotten one of those.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So
Is it going to have fragrant flowers?
no. And being a variegated plant, and particularly carrii doesn't flower that freely anyway, even the green form. So this is probably less likely. It would flower. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen it. I have never seen it on our mother plants, but we're always cutting them back. So probably if the plant got big enough, you could get flowers out of it. It's really grown for its foliage. They look like hearts, the leaves do. And, this was one of those things that Valentine's Day, they'd root a leaf, which would never grow. Mm-hmm. And then they'd scar I love you in it. And then they'd be selling these leaves in pots that would never grow. But believe it or not, they'd live for years. Just the fact that they formed roots, but they had no growing shoot. Yeah.
But this is the ringer in Danielle's basket, right? This is what sets her over the edge, because everybody who sees this plant loves it. And
it's a great plant. And then she has a Morier paniculata here. This is an excellent container plant for fragrance. It's in the family of citrus, Rutaceae, and it puts out a flush of heavy bloom 2 or 3 times a year. It can be sporadic. This particular variety we have is a very low-growing, very early blooming, so it's all grown from seed. But like citrus, they're very, very fragrant, probably even more so than citrus. And being somewhat of a small grow, it's a great container plant. I mean, you can maintain plants at maybe a foot and a half for years with just a small amount of pruning. And they're fairly rugged. I mean, they do have a little bit of issues in terms of culture, but they're fairly rugged in terms of house conditions and so on. So they have shiny leaves to them, so they withstand a fair amount of dryness. Actually, they prefer some dryness. And then we have Stefania here, which is a climbing vine that puts out this large caudex bulb at the base. They're very cool looking.
Yeah.
So they, over time, this hasn't started, it's still a young plant. So, but eventually that's going to put out this like root that forms at the base of it, and with this climbing stem that runs up. And
so she got that one because that one was tough too.
yes, that one actually goes into a winter dormancy, and I think you probably could go away for quite a while and come back and still recover from the neglect that it's under. So we have a lot of great tough plants here that Danielle got. And then you have got some interesting plants too. Senna Geraniums, of course, are pretty easy to grow and great for windowsills, sunny windowsills. And of course, they smell so good.
So I wanted a Senna Geranium, but one that had variegated foliage. And I was expecting, like white edges or something. Or gray foliage, and like I love that this has the dark splotch.
Yeah, this has chocolate centers to it, and it's they're easy to grow, great to put out in the summertime. But they do make great windowsill plants in a sunny window. Now, there again, their geraniums come out of Africa, and they have that tolerance to dryness. So they tolerate that very well.
That's me. That's my thing. Now this guy's a little gangly. Is there a way to make him a little more?
That's
bushy?
interesting. We just had a question on that today from a customer that they didn't like the woody stems, and the fact is that they will always get woody stems.
Right.
If you keep them long enough, they're going to have woody stems. These plants respond very well to pruning, so you could actually prune this down pretty far as long as you leave. As long as you leave some eyes or nodes along the stem on each one of your cuts, you can go way down even to the point where you take all the foliage off. Now, some plants don't respond very well to that, but these Senna Geraniums, this is a very strong plant. It's got a good heavy root system to it. So you can certainly prune that back to maintain the size on it and to sort of reinvigorate the lower part of the plant. And then we have a Streptocarpus. Of course, streps are, this is an African violet.
African violet.
Yeah, family. They have a little more challenging than African violets in that they don't like heat. So we do okay in the north and northeast here, but like this is a crop that is not grown in Florida. They only grow in the wintertime, and they'll all die off on them.
So where are they native to?
They actually come out of Africa, and these are complex hybrids, but they don't come out of the high heat areas of Africa, higher elevation, or particularly if they're being grown in they understory plants. They're right down on the forest floor. So that in itself creates a lot of coolness. It's not but it's a low light plant, and the hybridization of that has created these wonderful flowering plants that go on for a very long period of time.
Yeah, this one has like really intense red flowers.
Very intense.
That's why the picture sold me.
Yeah. So the only thing you got to remember is that you can easily overfeed, fertilize them. They're very sensitive to high salt levels.
Oh, not a concern with me. Yeah. I'm on the underfeeding.
Right, and they'll be happy wherever you put them. You don't want to put them in direct sun though, or highlight, because they'll bleach the leaves out. Then this is a Nephrolepis duffii, which is a fern. This is a miniature fern. Most of these are used in terrarium cultures. So you got to be careful with ferns. They don't like to get dried out. If you dry them out, they probably are not going to if you dry them bad, they're not going to come back.
I'll put it to the test. We'll see.
Yeah,
just how much
and obviously it's a fern, so it takes lower light, but even moisture is really important with that. And then because they're grown in low light, you really don't want a lot of fertilizer on them. You want to make sure that you don't overfeed them, because salt levels can build up and then take them out. Yeah, and then this is Caprosma, which interestingly enough, this is really a landscape plant.
Yeah,
in warmer areas.
Yeah, we see it out in California.
Yeah, right, where they use it for hedging and so on. But it does make a nice container plant. And this one has that kind of golden to bronze foliage to it. And the color will go all yellow if the light level's low. And if you put them under high light and cooler temperatures, this bronzeness comes back. It's just something that can be easily shaped. And you're not growing this for flowers.
Right.
I've had Caprosmas for years and never seen them bloom. I suppose they do, but in our culture, they don't so much. So this is just something, and you could probably even grow this in a bonsai. Bonsais are really plants that can take huge amounts of stress on their root system and still not defoliate and not go backwards. Some things you treat them that way and they're going to die.
Yeah.
But bonsais are something that have to grow under that stress. And this plant can actually take it. That's why we see it in the West, Southwest or California or so on, because they do have a very long dry season. So it's a great plant. Yep.
All right, we did okay. What are some other highlights that you see when you go out there? What still makes your pulse quicken when you go out there?
Well, I was planting seeds today, so seeds are always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we're always trying new things from seeds. So I go in every day and see how much is germinated. I had a mouse get into some of our seeds last night. So.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So they do wander in from time to time. So we set traps. It didn't hurt too much, but if you let them go on too long, they'll dig things up really bad. I'm also doing some hybridizing with rhizomatous begonias, and I've been working on that for 4, 5, 6 years now. So I'm starting to get some interesting stuff coming out. So I'm going from one generation to the next, and I'm starting to amplify some of the traits.
Are you breeding for something in particular? Do you have a goal in mind of like a certain leaf shape or color, or just like seeing what you can get?
So the thing about it is you're always trying to get out of the color schemes that we already have. Mm-hmm. So whatever breeding we can do that'll make something different, we're going there. But with that said, we need to have plants that are suited for containers. So in the rhizomatous group, there's a lot of plants that have very long petioles. Those don't really work as container plants. So we try to shorten the petioles up on them. And then we try to stabilize colors, another problem, because in the rhizomatous group, a lot of the colors will shift in summertime to you lose all your intense color that you've got right now as the light level increases. So we're trying to stabilize that. And as I said, just get new color forms. Autumn Ember was one of ours that actually has orange leaves to it. And I've done quite a bit. I've got some pretty stable. Martha Stewart was one of our hybrids that stabilized and holds that color very well. Autumn Ember seems to have a little bit of a summer problem to it. And then, there's also flowering. I don't really work too much on the blooms on that, but there's white, pink, and then really dark pink flowers, which are in bloom right now. You probably saw them in the greenhouses, yeah. And, I'm not really working too much on that, although I do appreciate the flowers when they come. And I'm also working on Brugmansias, the angel trumpets. We just released a new hybrid this spring called Pink Perfusion, which basically we're trying to get plants that'll flower very young and be very compact, which is something that's never really been focused on, but because we're container growers, that's one thing we're looking at. And this is a pretty good plant. We have Angel Summer Dream, which we did a number of years ago, and that's sort of the thing we judge our plants against, because that thing it's in bloom now. It's in bloom all year round. It can be grown in a basket. It's so compact because Brugmansias are really big trees, and these are really, we've shortened them down. We've created very, very bushy specimens, and now, which with all our Brugmansia stock and our mother plants and so on, you can go in and find the ones that'll bloom under the lowest light in the dead of winter. If you've got buds on those things and they're still flowering, that's a great candidate.
So Brugmansias don't need a dormant period. You can keep them alive in the house. You don't have to put them in the basement or anything.
They do very well in the basement, though. If you don't have room for them, because they do get big. These ones that we're growing, that like Pink Perfusion, it can actually be a windowsill plant. I mean, you have to have a fairly good sized window for it, but it can actually be a windowsill plant rather than some of them. They'll have to run up 4, 5, 6 feet before they even start to bud. And this thing just, what we do is when we're breeding them, we'll plant all these seedlings out, and then we just watch who flowers the first, right?
Yeah. Do you have like a betting pool or anything like that? Which one you think?
No, no, but we just plant them, and then you watch and see if seedlings at first to bloom. Then we hold them, of course, and evaluate the flower quality and so on.
So is it an age thing with Brugmansia to getting them to, like they need to be a certain level of maturity before they bloom?
Well, it's kind of a genetic. It's also environmental,
okay.
But we give them the optimum conditions to flower.
But a young plant could still bloom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we see them all the time. And even there's, even in the stuff that's tall. So a Brugmansia usually has a central leader that runs up, and at some point it forks. Mm-hmm. And at that point it begins to flower, mostly. But there are those that fork and they don't flower, or the flower buds fall off, or whatever it is. There's some kind of a problem. They come out of the Andes, Ecuador at, 6,000 feet or whatever. And they get to Connecticut and they're at 400 feet and it's hot in the summertime. And they're not happy, So, but there are those that tolerate heat better, mm-hmm. like our red Brugmansia, supposedly red, sanguinea. They actually die on us in the summertime when it gets so hot. But if you're out in San Francisco, like in the striping arboretum, they're huge bushes and flower all the time because they're up against the coast and it stays cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to run back to the greenhouse and get myself a Brugmansia.
There you go.